And before we begin tonight, I just want to say congratulations to Lynn for her sweep of that election. And also to welcome our new board members. We have Jody Cordes from J. Raise your hands so people know. Holly Morris from Livermore. Tasha Perkins from Livermore. And Chantel Woodcock from J. And welcome to all of you. All set with attendance, Laura? No adjustments. And I'd entertain a motion to accept the April 7th, 2022 budget validation referendum meeting minutes. Moved by Phoebe, second by Elaine. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Robin? Abstain.
Ava?
Abstain.
Lena?
Yes. Sorry, I spaced out.
Joey?
Abstain.
Elaine?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Holly?
Refuse.
Lynn?
Yes.
Tasha?
Abstain.
Joel? Phoebe?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Chantel?
Yes.
Abstain.
What? Abstain.
Bob?
Yes. I'd also entertain a motion to accept the April 14th, 2022 school board meeting minutes. Moved by Phoebe, second Elaine. Any errors, omissions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Chantel? Andrew?
Yes.
Phoebe?
Yes.
Joel? Tasha? Lynn?
Yes.
Holly?
Abstain.
Pat?
Yes.
Elaine?
Yes.
Jody?
Abstain.
Lena?
Abstain.
Ava?
Abstain.
Robin?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes. So moved. And we have a Spruce Mountain High School Outdoor Club Moose River trip request. I believe we have someone coming right up. I thought TJ was coming too. Lynn?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this outdoor club trip.
We have a motion and a second by Elaine. Any questions or comments? Phoebe?
Just a comment. I remember you talking about this last year, and it seems like such a wonderful experience for the kids, even if last time was a little bit of walking. But I think it's wonderful to get the kids out in nature and just having a good time building up those experiences and memories. So I love this idea.
Pat?
I appreciate that you're doing this again this year. I just wanted to mention to everybody again, last year when this same thing happened, I showed up on that Saturday at the high school, and he's absolutely right. It was canoes out in the field, kids going through their gear and the utilities, and I mean packing down their foods, so they would take them out of the bags and put them into smaller bags, so everything was compact down. This wasn't just a trip, this was an adventure. It was like getting ready for an episode of Bear Grylls. And so I really appreciate the effort that goes into this, because again, it's not, we're just going canoeing on the Moose. It was a whole thing, everything involved. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Lynn?
Will Mr. Plord be going this year? I'll be going again this year. That's good to hear. I hope you have a good time.
And my one comment is I like the fact that this is a lifelong activity that kids can take and teach their own family and do forever. So it's a great idea. Any other comments? Sure.
So, because it's a Bear Grylls adventure, why Keller has never talked me into going.
I've tried several times. And it is open to incoming ninth graders too, just to make sure, that's a good opportunity for my eighth graders coming in to be with some friends and be a part of the school already, so.
Nice. Joel?
Do you have a mechanism in place in case any student wants to go that doesn't have the funding available to them?
Yeah, actually, what happened last year is after it went through the board meeting, we received a phone call from a woman who wanted to sponsor somebody. So we didn't take her up on that last year, but we have the ability to get in touch with her again.
Okay.
To see if she's interested. We also have received through Teens to Trails, which is a statewide program. Over the past couple of years, we've received a couple $500 grants to purchase equipment, and we still have some money left over from that, so we will take anybody whether they can afford it.
Okay, and the students are aware there's these opportunities. Okay, excellent. Thank you.
What is the cost to the students?
It's $75.
That's not bad.
It's not bad.
No.
And they eat well. They eat very well. Mr. Ford will attest to that. Yeah, turkey dinner one night. Yeah, we have Thanksgiving dinner one night, and yeah, pretty good.
Andrew?
It looks like you have a pretty well set up list. My son was on a lot of scouting adventures, and some of the list looks about the same. I just noticed the dates, June 26th to 29th. That's before the 4th of July. Will the ice be out?
We're hoping. Maybe in Jackson, if we maybe have to dodge a few birds, but. No, but the dang bugs will be out. Well, yes, they will.
Anyone else? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Lynn,
Yes.
Robin,
Oh, yeah.
Ava,
Yes.
Holly. Yes. Jody. Yes. Phoebe,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Chantel,
Yes.
Joel,
Yes.
Tasha,
Yes.
Pat,
Yes.
Elaine,
Yes.
Lena,
Yes.
Bob.
Yes. So moved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. There's no public comments. Any board member comments? Phoebe?
As I'm sure most of you know, yesterday was Administrative Professional Day, and I just want to thank all of our administrative professionals, and if we could give them a round of applause, I think I would be greatly appreciated.
Joel?
And I don't know if I'm stealing anyone else's thunder on this, but I just got to speak. We talked about the robotics team going down to New England, and they were down there a couple weekends ago, I think, seems like so long ago, but so close ago. And I know an email went around, that was sent around with some details from Rob Taylor, but, I mean, Ava, you had we were able to be there as part of the whole team, and I gotta say, it was an amazing showing of the combined teams, both from Spruce and Mount Blue. Some of the stuff that Rob didn't necessarily go into, I've been working with both these teams in some form or fashion for like 11 or 12 years now. This is the first time either one of those teams have ever been on the field for playoffs in New England. And they did just an amazing job there. I mean, everything finally came together with that team right when you wanted it to for that event. And it was kind of funny because we're one of the few teams that actually has an AED in our pit, thanks to Spruce the Spruce side hooking us up with that because they'd always had one. And a lot of us mentors were making a comment there during playoffs that we probably should go to the pit and get it because it was some of the most nail-biting endings of different matches that I've ever been through time and time again for that team against, and for them to go in as the 8th seed at the end of qualifications on that side of the field, move up to be the 6th Alliance captain. And the neat thing about it is they picked the 29th and the 30th place team, and then in that combination of basically 8th, 29th, and 30th, beat the 3rd place Alliance and almost beat the 2nd place Alliance, which is really impressive for that level of play. I mean, there's 2 fields going on at New England, and by far the field we were on was the highest level of competition there, and the team was right there with them. So it was just an incredible event to watch, and anyone who's been associated with that team or any of the kids with it through all the years should really just be so excited for how well they did. So I just want to pass that along.
Thank you. Robin?
I know we're going to talk about the budget referendum later in the meeting, but I just wanted to thank the community, all 3 communities, for passing the budgets. I don't think people realize how important schools are to the community at large. Even if you don't have kids in school, if you've never had kids, or if you had kids and they went to another school district and they're out of here already. It's still extremely important to the community. They are what is our foundation. You want to draw in people that, people that have money, you got to have good schools. You want to draw in new employers, you got to have good schools. So I really appreciate the community for passing the budget. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Superintendent's report.
Good evening. First off, I want to thank Crystal Flagg and Laura White for all their hard work on the budget. They are a huge reason why we have a budget for next year. Secondly, I wanted to thank the taxpayers for passing next year's budget. I know in these hard economic times that it is crucial to have their support. For those individuals that decided to vote against the budget because they did not feel they could afford it, I understand and respect your decision. For those of you who voted down the budget because you are not happy with the district or some of the individuals in the district, I want you to know I hear you, I respect your decision, and I'll work harder in the future. Over vacation, worked one day directly with Crystal, Chris, and Ken to go over our ESSA 2 and ESSA 3 grants to see where we are with money spent, money saved, and looking at timelines for projects. Because remember, the ESSA 3 goes until September 2024, so we have to spread out those projects. So we sat down and spent a good chunk of a day working on that. I enjoyed reading to Mrs. Lambert's TK students yesterday. The Head Start, I've met with the Head Start program. They are looking to do things a little bit different than our own pre-K program next year. The federal government's pushing for them to go 4 days a week, all day. So what's probably going to happen is they're going to do that at the same time that we run our program the way we have in the past. Because if we were to try to go all day, you'd be cutting the options for students in half, the amount of students that could go and receive. But that's a push from the federal government, so they're going to give it a try. Also, during this past week, I met with the association president, Nathan Harden, for our monthly meeting.
Questions, comments for Scott? Okay, administrator reports. Tina is traveling back from Bangor and is probably not going to make it, so we'll go to Chris. Mr. Hollingsworth.
He was mumbling over there. I heard him.
All right, mine will be short. There's a lot going on, but not anything like finalized to report on. One thing I did finish up today, just opened. Believe it or not, there's still more money out there. So I put in, there's an emergency connectivity fund that we can go after, and that'll help us keep the Wi-Fi spots that we've been using for kids that need them. That'll allow us to hopefully keep at least, I counted up the ones that were actually in use, and we're at just about 54 that are actually being used on a regular basis right now by students. So we're looking to cover 60 for next year, and this grant would do that. It would give us about $25,000. So hopefully that'll come through. Scott and I met with administration today, talked about Summer Institute and what they're interested in doing. So we're going to be looking at that and trying to put together some professional development for the summer. We still have some of that money in the grant to be able to do that. And then, of course, we talked about summer school, trying to just finalize what schools are thinking they're going to have for numbers. The schedules are pretty well set, but we're just going to finalize what we have for numbers so we know what we'll need for staff and things like that. And then, so Laura will also know what to do for food and things like that. So that's all I have.
Any questions or comments for Chris? My question is, I know when we first went remote, there was a couple of kids, I think out on Severy Hill and a couple other places that we weren't able to help. Has any of that been able to be rectified?
I think in the end, the U.S. cellular Wi-Fi spots that we got, we're able to pick up out there.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next up's Norma. Oh, she's behind Kim.
Hello. Not a whole lot to report. We definitely could use some bus monitors. If anybody knows anybody that wants to work 15 to 20 hours a week, we don't have any. We have a TransFinder Plus program that's sponsored by the state of Maine that Chris has been helping download and get that up and running, and me and Sean have been taking some more training. We train again on May 10th to get that up and going. That helps with field trips and route training, planning. It's a little bit more effective, and it's at no cost to us. So we're doing that. Otherwise than that, I don't have a whole lot to say.
Any questions or comments? Robin?
Norma, the opportunity for bus monitor jobs, has that been put on the Facebook page? Do you know?
I'm not, to be honest, I don't know.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
And Laura's not able to be here. Check your email if you haven't. There's a report from her. Robin.
Hi, good evening. Guess I'm taller than everybody. I have Betsy and Michelle here tonight. They are our two adult ed instructors, and they're going to be providing you with an overview of their most recent statewide professional development efforts. So I hope to be brief in my report to you. So to start, workforce snapshot for certified medical assisting. We had 11 students start the cohort, and we now have 10 nationally certified medical assistants from this past cohort. Just as a point of interest, I had to take my kids to the doctors recently, so in the pediatrics office, I saw 3 former students working full-time. That was really cool to see. Next Thursday, May 5th, our CNA students will take their state boards, and if all goes well, we'll have 7 graduates out of that program. And remember, this is the first time that we've run this program. Of those 7 students, 3 were selected for pre-hire at Franklin Memorial, and they were paid apprentices throughout their 10-week experience with us. Both Franklin Memorial and North Country Associates have been fantastic partners in the externship components of this. So students have to go and have hands-on experience. So they work in nursing homes and the hospital for that. So I want to publicly thank our CNA instructors. Anytime we pilot a new workforce training program, there are growing pains and learning opportunities for all of us. And I just felt like they handled it with such professionalism and grace. So thank you to Tanya, Abby, Julie, and Jennifer. Culinary recruitment has been successful for the fall semester. We have 7 students in the pipeline. Chef Wayne has been in communication with the J. Livermore Falls Chamber of Commerce, and we plan to do some events over the summer. And lastly, our graduation will be June 12th, following the high school graduation on the football field. Normally we have a guest speaker, but we have about 50 students that we're going to be honoring at our ceremony this year. So to respect everyone's time, we're just going to focus on that. So we look forward to celebrating with you all on that day, and formal invitations will be forthcoming. So before I turn it over to Betsy and Michelle, do you have any questions?
Question? Lynn?
Would you repeat the date for graduation?
Yes, it's June 12th,
Time again after
4 o'clock. Yeah. You're welcome.
Elaine?
Want to thank you for offering the yummy cooking classes at night. I just recently took home a great big beautiful box of eclairs that I had a chance to be in the class for, which my husband really appreciates. And we look forward to more. We had a great time. It's a wonderful time for all ages, and I encourage people to take part.
Yes, our classes are quite full. I wake up in the morning and I click on my email and it's like boom, boom, boom. Seven overnight that have signed up for a class, so that's really exciting. Yes.
Anyone else? Phoebe?
I just want to thank you for everything that you've been doing for the community. Often on school board, a lot of our attention goes to the primary school, elementary, middle, and high school. And sometimes we don't pay enough attention to the adult aspect of it in a way of saying thank you and how much we appreciate it. I mean, a lot of the students that are in the class I know have kids in our district as well. And to have that experience of them going to school while their children are going to school, it just makes it such a wonderful community experience for them and an inspiration to those kids. So I do want to thank you for everything you're doing and continue to do.
Thank you for saying that, Phoebe. I really appreciate that.
Anyone else? Okay.
All right, I will turn it over to Betsy and Michelle.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I'm Betsy.
And I'm Michelle. We're just going to introduce ourselves because sometimes, people are not quite sure.
Yes, we have students that get us mixed up once in a while because we're just two of a pretty tight team. So, and that's kind of what our presentation that we'll be talking about is about. We did a lot of team teaching through this opportunity we were given this year to join a statewide training for a curriculum called STM, which stands for Teaching the Skills That Matter in Adult Education.
Yeah, and if you have access to this curriculum, if you actually just do a search for LINCS, LINCS, this is a resource site for adult educators nationwide, and the curriculum is there. And it focuses on 5 critical topics that are especially important to adults, and those are civics, health, workforce, financial literacy, and digital literacy. So our team teaching adventure, I guess you would say, we really focused on health because the group that we picked to work with, health is a very big topic for them.
Yeah. So we were able to really focus on health for a whole semester. And we then brought in some digital literacy for the students and also some financial literacy. So we really were able to piggyback on each other, use each other as somebody to plan with, and I think it really went well. So what we wanted to share with you is we had to present when we kind of finished the whole training as a state. We all got together and we shared what we had done. And we had to come up with a 6-minute, they were very strict, no more than 6 minutes, either video or presentation, which you'll see, or live. And I think Robin sent out a link for Michelle's. We both had, we did not even plan together, so we each did our own. They ended up being quite similar, actually. And mine is being played tonight, but you have yours in an email, I believe, from Michelle, too, as well.
So we'll try to be brief, but I think I just want to stress that this was a very new initiative at the state level, and we took part in one of the first cohorts. And we've done this with students, and our hope in the fall is to expand it to the entire body of students that we serve, and then in turn be kind of train the trainer, take a role in becoming an active coach and mentor for others in adult education.
There has been interest in, we worked with somebody in a neighboring adult ed in Farmington that we may be able to, she kind of did a similar track or focus, and so we may be able to do that together in the hub.
Right.
And even use technology to let everybody participate if they're remote too, so
Right.
who knows?
And community resources as well, so.
So the students you'll see that we focused on are just one demographic of students. So we have students, as you know, all the way, people that are of all ages, and a lot of high school completion and workforce training. But we also have this group of students who happen to be students we've had for quite some time that are continuing their education.
Right. Some of these students actually earned their diploma with us, as you'll see in the video, but they are continuing. They've been with us for years, so.
Hi, my name is Betsy Brumner, and I teach math and science at Spruce Mountain Adult and Community Education in Livermore Falls. This year, I was able to teach a familiar group of students using lessons from the Teaching the Skills That Matter toolkit and stretch both their learning and my teaching in many ways. What was the learning and how did it happen? The mini unit I taught incorporated health literacy, financial literacy, and even some digital literacy.
Okay, well, looks like it doesn't want to play. I can send this out to all the board members, and I apologize.
Yeah, you guys can watch both of them at your leisure.
So I'll just say, we welcome questions, so feel free to contact us if you have any.
Do you have any questions now? I mean, we're willing to speak more if you guys.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I did have a question about, say, like the coursework. Is this almost in a way like sort of a holistic course construction where you're piecing these different realms together, what's relevant to the students? And so it's an adaptive or dynamic sort of.
Yes. We spent a lot of time also talking about how to adapt for different, different needs, different levels. So they call it the toolkit. It's all there for you as an instructor to draw from, but we made huge modifications. So like the lesson I did on shopping, eating on a budget, eating healthy on a budget, that one was supposed to be like 1 hour and a half. It could have been 1 hour and a half lesson, and I ended up breaking it down and taking it further and ending up, I think it was like 4 classes. So yeah, very adaptable, and it's really using a lot of integrated learning, so trying to hit multiple areas.
Likewise, I started out with a lesson called What is Good Health? And ideally, I think it's a 90-minute lesson, but it too became a multi-week lesson. And I think the best thing that really came out of that was spontaneous learning, and I'm I'm the language arts teacher and Betsy does the math, so we have a complete right brain, left brain thing going on. And the amount of discussion and writing that actually came out of this that wasn't originally part of the content was very surprising.
Likewise on the math. I ended up bringing in a lot of math skills and topics that I didn't think I was going to cover, but then you kind of have to scaffold and kind of go back a little ways. Sometimes you realize, oh wait, we can't do that yet because they need a little bit of help with this first.
But it just really provides an excellent framework for so many things that crop up that you really don't expect, that it was just very good learning.
And I'll say the last thing that we're finishing that Michelle is leading, because we've kind of been going back and forth as the main instructor, and then the other one is the support. Michelle is currently doing communication with doctors.
Doctor-patient communication.
Which is great.
So that's becoming longer also than we realized, because
it's really important.
Lots of avenues.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, thank you for your time. It was a good opportunity to come and speak with you. So.
Yeah, and enjoy the videos if you get a chance.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken?
Good evening. Pretty much the same as everybody else. I don't have a real long thing, but probably a little longer than some. I don't want to be on the blah da thing. Chris has always given me heck for that, for starting off with this. But, you know, I do want to start off with saying that it's been a very trying year again. It certainly has. It seems like we just get leveled out and stable, and somebody else gets done, or somebody else gets sick, or something happens and we lose people. And it's been a trying year there. I give kudos for Norma for stepping into the transportation department and working with days when you're wondering, pulling your hair out, who's going to drive today and who's going to clean. You know, it's been a tough road for both of us. Norma is going to a thing she didn't mention. She's going to a job fair next Wednesday up to Eddie Naples, in Region 9 for a day, a job fair. Hopefully we can draw in some employees that would be interested in bus driving and custodial work. So you know, keep that in your mind and hope that something works out well there. You know, like I said, it's just been a trying year. We've had 4 resignations. We've had 1 person out medically, who's out permanently. We had 1 termination, along with 4 extended medical leaves, 2 with COVID. That was long-term. We have 1 that's still out for the rest of the year. We have another one that's going out next Monday for 4 weeks, and we have 1 that's going out on May 11th for the rest of the year also. So it just seemed like one thing after another, whether it had been the COVID, whether it had been just the way the year started off, I'm not sure, but it's just going to finish up the same way, I can tell. So we're looking forward to June 15th. I mean, that's going to be the prayerful thing that we make it through to there. Over the last week's vacation, we had a very limited crew, of course. We had a lot of people that needed vacation time, and they had to take it, really, to get it in between this year. So we had a small crew, but I feel we accomplished a lot. Our main goal during vacation week was trying to get these classrooms cleaned up somewhat to finish up the last 6 weeks here. I think we did a pretty good job. There's still some that, you know, and I can't deny that we've had a tough year as far as having the personnel to really do the job that I'd like to see done on some of these places, but I think the guys have done a great job for what we've had. Also, we replaced three rooms at the middle school. We replaced 3 carpets with VCT tile, and they all got waxed and got put back together, so that was a great thing. We had a few people outside doing some raking, getting ready to do some sweeping. Sad part is we lost one of our groundskeepers here last week. We lost him. He resigned, and so we got a little behind, but we did get all the sports fields ready to go, ready for the baseball games that we've already had. That was great. We got some new people coming on board next week. We do have a person that's going to take the groundsperson's job and also a bus driving job. So we're looking up a little bit there. We've also I believe we're going to have also another 2 bus drivers that are looking in to come in to work for us. So that will help a lot for the remainder of the year.
due to state mandates that I've spoken about before, with the new mandates on all schools, we have to do lead and copper sampling. Over the weekend, from Friday to Monday, I come in and did 102 water samples. And on Tuesday, I took them all down to A&L Laboratories in Auburn, where they'll do the testing. And there again, we can only hope that everything comes back negative. If not, then we have to have a plan set up to what we're going to do to repair or replace. And ending again, I'd like to just thank all the dedicated employees, staff, administrators, and you, the school board, for the work you performed and support you've given throughout the year. Quote, I like to always end with a quote or something good, I hope. And this quote was from Joshua L. Marine. I don't know if you know him. He was an author. He was also in the military. And it kind of fits this whole thing. His quote was, "Challenges are what make life interesting, and overcoming them is what makes life meaningful." Any questions?
Any questions or comments for Ken? Thank you, Ken. Woo. I have nothing, so we'll go right to a COVID-19 update.
Okay, there's been no changes coming from the state in regards to the SOP. We have 2 more weeks of voluntary pool testing. We have been told that the home tests have been shipped. The nurses and I will set up a protocol for getting those to families that want them. We will not be forcing families to take them. Cases remain low, but we will most likely have a little bump this week following vacation. But overall, things are good.
Any questions on COVID? Budget referendum results.
Okay. Article 1, Town of Jay, we had 215 yeses, 110 noes, and 4 blanks. So it passed in Jay. Article 2, which, remember, that was in order to keep the town meeting and the referendum in place. That has to be voted on every 3 years. For the town of Jay, there were 240 yeses, 77 noes, and 5 blanks. For the town of Livermore, Article 1, 144 yeses, 113 noes, no blanks. Article 2, for the town of Livermore, 173 yeses, 83 noes, and 1 blank. And last but not least, the town of Livermore Falls, Article 1, had 37 yeses and 43 noes. Article 2 had 54 yeses and 25 noes and 1 blank. Now remember, when it comes to us being an RSU, it is the total number of votes between the 3 towns that does not have to pass in all 3 towns. It's the total number of votes when it comes to an RSU. So we did pass. Congratulations.
Any questions on that? Comments? Okay, moving on. I'd entertain a motion to enter into executive session to discuss a personnel matter pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056A. Moved by Robin, second by Pat. Roll call, please.
Yes.
Robin?
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Ava can't.
Andrew?
Yes.
Chantel?
Yes.
No, I know.
Joel?
Yes.
Tasha?
She can't even.
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Elaine?
Yes.
Lena?
Yes.
All set? We're back in session at 6:49. I'd entertain a motion to accept the administrator's contract renewals for Tina Collins, Michael Glenn, Chris Hollingsworth, Mark Keller, TJ Plourd, Carolyn Luce, Patrick St. Clair, and Sherry Parker for 2 years each. Do we have a motion by Elaine? We have a second by Pat. Any further comment, discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. No. Okay. And you have your list of co-curricular, other appointments, retirements, resignations. 31st. Okay, and on May 3rd, Policy Committee meets at 5 p.m. at Superintendent's office. We also have one on the 31st. May 12th will be a regular meeting at Spruce Mountain High School at 6 p.m. And Robin will be leading that meeting as my wife's having surgery, and I don't think I'll be back in time. And then then we'll also have a meeting on May 26th at the high school. Finance Committee meeting at 5:30. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Pat, second by Phoebe. Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, May 12th is important that we have to sign paperwork on the validation. Can I come in the day before and do that? Yep. If you don't think you can make that meeting, like myself, I'll probably stop in the day before and try to get that done, but